So I have a promo for us to do for Popping Collars, but I was too lazy to write something, so I had AI write it for us.
Oh no. I can't wait to do this.
What's all this direction?
There's a lot of direction.
There's a lot of adverbs.
The AI really wants us to work hard on this. Here I go, enthusiastically. Welcome to Popping Collars, podcast where religion and pop culture collide in the most unexpected ways. Join Greg, I guess me, join me, Betsy, Liz, and Ricardo as they explore everything from the profound to the playful with a little twist of mystery, literature, music, and drama. We're diving into the spiritual side of true crime novels. Liz, did you get into our algorithm here? How do faith and morality play out in the darkest stories?
Ever wondered if Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities has deeper religious themes? We'll break it down and maybe even compare it to a Pearl Jam song or two.
Whoa, they know us.
And when we dive into British period dramas like Downton Abbey or The Crown, we're asking, how do faith, power, and class intersect in those worlds? And that's true. We did do that.
It's not just about the big questions. We're also taking pop culture icons and how they tackle faith, redemption, and the meaning of life.
Do you want to do that again? Because I don't think we're taking the pop culture icons. We're talking about the pop culture.
I was busy being cheerful.
Yeah, he's really working hard.
So, brightly. I don't know what brightly means, so I'll just say it this way. So, whether you're into mysteries, literature, rock anthems, or Victorian tea parties, oh, this is so Anglican. Popping Collars has something for everyone. Subscribe now and join us every week for a fun, thoughtful ride.
That was great.
What a promo. Hello, everyone. My name is Greg Knight, and I like watching, thinking about, and talking about movies. One of the great things about starting your own podcast is that there are some days where you actually get to talk to the people who make those movies, and this is one of those days. This month, I got the chance to talk to Michael Shannon and Judy Greer, the director and star, respectively, of the film Eric LaRue. Letterboxd.com will tell you this plot description. Janice is struggling. She moves through life as if in a haze, unable to let go of her anger and frustration. While her husband has found refuge at a new church, Janice finds it hard to seek solace in her faith, despite her pastor's pleas to heal her wounds by meeting with the mothers of her son's victims. What I'll tell you is a lot. Here's the thing. What that plot description leaves out is that this is a movie about a school shooting. The titular Eric LaRue is the one who commits these murders. And there's a lot going on in this movie, which you're going to hear when I interview Michael and Judy. In fact, I have so much to say that we're not going to limit it to just this intro. I'm going to be popping in with commentary throughout what you're about to hear, because I have thoughts on every kind of aspect of this. Yes, I have thoughts about the movie, and I have questions, but I also have thoughts about 10-minute long promotional interviews. I have thoughts about internet nonsense and how my router just kicks off every now and then, unexplainably. I have thoughts about what it's like to be an amateur podcaster and the ridiculousness of interviewing two celebrities at once. I have a lot of thoughts. So we'll get into all of that during the interview. Before we get to that, let me introduce my guests. Michael Shannon is a famous actor who My kids know from a Ritz cracker commercial with Aubrey Plaza and Bad Bunny, but who anyone over the age of 13 would probably know from films like Take Shelter, The Shape of Water, and the Zack Snyder Superman movie Man of Steel, where he played General Zod. Judy Greer is a famous actress who my kids don't know at all because they haven't seen Ant-Man or Jurassic World, but she's in those and a whole lot more, including voice work in Archer and Family Guy, and she even shows up in the Jennifer Garner Vehicle 13 going on 30. So what happens when everything kind of goes off the rails for a podcaster with a microphone and a dream? That would be me. When he tries to talk to celebrities about their new indie flick. Find out when I keep things under the stole with Michael Shannon and Judy Greer. But first, here's a trailer for the film Eric LaRue.
When Eric was 7, we took a trip to Leech Lake.
That must have been nice. Were there leeches in the lake?
Yes. Eric had some between his toes.
Wait, Eric was bleeding?
Why are you asking me that?
What does him bleeding have to do with...
Stop. I've made you angry.
I'm not.
Hi, you need some help with the groceries?
No. What's tonight?
Prayer group at Redeemer. You want to join?
No, thank you. I just want to understand why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling.
There's more than just you involved. We don't want these wounds to get infected.
Thank you for your guidance. It means a lot to me.
Look up the pastor's job description. The word guidance is the first thing you'll see.
I think I'm really starting to understand more about the Lord's path for me.
What are you understanding?
More about the Lord's path.
I believe this all happened for a reason. I know it.
You should leave yourself open to healing and praying.
Oh, stop talking to me like that. I'm not a child.
I don't want to talk about what happened to my son.
I feel the same way.
Your son isn't gone, Janice. Your son is alive.
You're gonna come through the other side of this, and everything is gonna be better. Do you believe me?
Eric killed those boys. He shot them.
Hi, Judy. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Hey, Greg.
Thank you so much for doing this. Congratulations on the picture.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me set the scene for you right out of the blocks. First, this interview started about an hour late than my appointed time, which means that everything was running behind schedule. Second, what you need to know when these interviews happen is that, yes, the talent are there on the screen, but also a fleet of other people are there as well. PR people for the talent, PR people for the studio, PR people who set up the interview. Finally, this is one of approximately 1 billion interviews that these people have done that day, and they are asked the same questions over and over again. So there's your setting for what's about to happen. What was a moment, and this is to either of you, whichever wants to jump on it first. What was the moment that happened in your life that made you think, this is what I want to do? I want to create things. I want to make art.
Wow.
Just real quick, there's a strategy for why I ask this question at the beginning of every interview, and it's to see how long the person talks when they're giving answers. If they respond with a short, pithy comment to this, then I know that I'm going to need more questions. And if they take a long time answering, then I know that I need to pick my best questions. So there's a little method to the madness here.
Well, I don't know. I started messing around with it when I was a kid. I started really in music, actually. Studying piano and playing in the orchestra, and I was even in a chorus at one point. And then I had a brief period where I was super interested in architecture, and then and then I guess the acting thing kind of surfaced around eighth grade for me. But I guess you're asking more to the point, not just like as a hobby, but like to make a living out of it or something. But I was still quite young when I started doing theater in Chicago. I started when I was like 16, and I just kind of felt like it was the only thing I was really suited for. I didn't, I couldn't imagine myself really doing anything else. I was like, well, I'll either do this or I'll just be like homeless or something. Like those were the two options. There were the idea of me like becoming like a real estate broker or a gas station attendant or anything. I just couldn't imagine it. Yeah.
The spectrum of experience is just
Mhm.
lost.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
were really good at
I
like
loved
real
it.
estate in that movie, though. 99 Homes. You were like a real estate.
Oh, that's true.
You are
Oh, I got it.
you
Yeah.
are pretty convincing, dude.
Yeah.
What about you, Judy? Was there a moment where you're like, man, this is what I want to do?
Uh, yeah. Well, not like one moment, but like I think I was already doing it when I realized that this is what I wanted to do because it
Yeah.
seemed so unbelievable that I was doing it that I just kept and like still a piece of me is like, well, that was a good run every time I wrap. And like, all right. Yeah, so it was a few years in when I was paying my rent as an actor and living in Los Angeles and I was like, "Oh, I actually like really love this." I think it was when I was starting to run out of money at one point and I hadn't had a job for a minute and I was like, "Oh, wait. I do want to do this. Like I do care so much about this." And I think I kind of got more focused.
Yeah, there's a moment where you could hit the off ramp if you wanted to,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
100%. Because I always thought, well, I'll just move back to Chicago and figure something else out.
Right.
I don't know. When I graduated from college, I got a job like working the front desk at a hair salon. Like I did that for a little while in college. And I was like, I guess I'll just like manage a hair salon in Chicago. I mean, like they're so loud. Anyway, yeah, I didn't, but I was doing it for a minute before I was like, wait, no, don't take it away. I like it. I want to do
Yeah.
it.
You know what? There's no right answer to that. I'm just always super curious, like what gets you into the arts and what makes it a passion for you. So, like Michael, for instance, with this, I know that you were closely associated with the play for Eric LaRue. I don't think I have the question of why make a movie. I think my question is like, I'm always curious about adaptation. Like, what was it that you thought you could do with a movie adapting the play to this format when you were looking at starting this project?
Well, the adapting was primarily done by Brett. I had just directed a play that Brett had written, and it was closing night of the play. And he gave me the script to Eric LaRue, the screenplay to Eric LaRue on the closing night of this other thing. And he just asked me to read it to get my opinion of it or whatnot, if I had any thoughts. And I hadn't read it or I hadn't had any interaction with it since I had seen it, over 20 years ago. And it just, when I started reading the screenplay, it just came flooding back to me. Um, but he'd really done a magnificent job of actually fleshing it out and adding characters and locations and making it much more inclusive of the entire community. The play itself has way fewer characters and is very much focused on um, Janice and Ron, which I mean the film is too to a certain extent, but there's a lot of characters that you don't even see in the play. So yeah, I just think Brett's one of the most unique writers that we have. I don't really think anybody else writes quite like he does. So
Dear listener, this is where my internet drops out and I'm disconnected from the chat. I made a point of going to the part of my house where the Wi-Fi was the strongest. I had everything set up and ready to go, looking as professional as possible, and then it all just fell apart. It's just unbelievable. I could do 1,000 podcast recordings, and the only one that I can guarantee I would drop out of is the one where I have 10 minutes to talk to Hollywood people.
Oh,
There you
hey,
are.
Look at that.
did it freeze?
My internet, who knows these days?
Yeah,
I could be right next to the router and it'll drop out on me. I have no idea what's going on. My only saving grace in this moment is that comment made Judy Greer laugh. Also, as soon as my internet comes back, I have a note in the chat saying I have 5 minutes to wrap up. So now I'm starting to panic a little bit, and I go to what I think is my best question. I do have a question, Judy, for you. You know, one of the things that you read about when you read about the movie, even the play, is sort of the tone, right, of the script. And I think that's something too that adds to the uniqueness that you were talking about, Michael. You know, it's dramatic, but there's a bit of absurdity to some of these scenes. So like, how do you guys balance that when you're doing these scenes where there's a bit of comedy involved and a bit of drama involved at the same time? Okay, so this question is going to piss off Michael Shannon. But if you watch the movie, it's a legitimate question. There is a scene in this film where the mothers of shooting victims are meeting with the mother of the perpetrator, who Judy plays, in a minister's office. And the women are in a tragic drama, and the minister is in a farcical comedy. That's the only way I can explain it. It's an unusual choice, and I thought worth discussing. I'll let you judge Michael's answer here.
Well, to me, that seems much more true to life.
Yeah.
Things that aspire to be strictly dramatic. I mean, honestly, I the idea that drama is on one end of a line and comedy is on the other end of a line, I feel it's a faulty premise. It's not. It doesn't. I don't relate to it in my own existence as a human being, so I don't know why I would tell a bunch of other people to.
Right, it's got to be all one thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's just not the way life works in my experience. I don't know. And life is absurd. I mean, and this whole situation is absurd. The fact that it keeps happening is absurd. It's absurdity. Absurdity isn't necessarily, funny. Absurd can be very disturbing as well. But it is absurd. But I've always been a big, my favorite theater to work on is theater of the absurd, Ionesco and, Beckett and things like that. I've always been a big proponent of those writers, and I believe Brett is an admirer of theirs as well. So, but a lot of the aspects of the screenplay or the story that people find the most absurd are actually drawn from Brett's own life experience, things that actually happened or things that he actually witnessed happening. They're not things that he imagined. They're based on people he knew or even people in his own family, So I remember, sometimes on set, somebody would say, why is this, here? And Brett would be like, well, because this happened. This actually happened. I was there when it happened. So, yeah, I just, to me, it's much more authentic that way than it is. A lot of what I see that is promoted as like heartbreaking, devastating, award caliber drama doesn't seem very authentic to me.
Yeah, like there's a folly to trying to explain the unexplainable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Precisely. You hit it on the head. Yes.
Yeah. So I actually like Michael's answer. But if you remember, the question was directed to Judy. So now I've got to figure out how to get her some time. This is where I immediately wished that I was talking to just one person instead of two, because you can go deeper on a really thoughtful answer like this if you didn't have to also make sure that the other person was getting their input in as well. By the way, at the end of this answer, I was told by the PR folks to wrap up. What about you, Judy? When you're in the middle of those scenes with those actors, I mean, you know comedy as much as anybody, right? Like, what do you lean into?
I don't ever think of anything I'm doing as one thing or the other. I don't ever think I'm shooting a comedy, so I better be funny on this one. Like, I just like let that be the director's problem. And like if you're listening and responding to the other actor and the director is happy, then you guys are hitting the tone. So then I think, uh, yeah, I kind of don't think of it as being my problem.
Yeah.
Or and sometimes I don't even know that things are funny until I see the finished product. Like certainly in this, like I'm in it and I'm like, huh. And then I see the finished product and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's really funny. I mean, there's also like a pressure cooker happening. So like, some things are really genuinely funny, some things are genuinely absurd, and sometimes people just need to like release a little bit so that they can like go back into the story and go back into these people. So I think that can happen too. But I don't know, comedy and drama would be I think it would be bad. I would be bad at my job if I was focused on that definite what I'm at work doing.
You guys, I wish I had 10 more minutes. I'm not Mark Maron, so I don't get like all the time in the world with you guys. So sorry. Just real quick, going back to Judy's answer. I thought it was fascinatingly revealing about movie making. Movies are pieced together like puzzles, and it's wild that you can be an actor in a picture and not know from one scene to the next what you're making. By the way, I made Judy laugh again with the Mark Maron line. Also, the PR people are getting really pissed at me in the chat at this point. Thank you so much again for this film, and I got to tell you, I am gonna do one last thing. They're gonna hate me for taking up time. Your last shot, Michael, of this film, where Judy's walking away at the end, gorgeous. I mean, like straight out of like David Lean, like Mike Nichols graduate stuff. I mean, that is a really great shot. I just wanted to commend you for that.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it.
I walked forever.
I bet you did.
I was walking and walking and walking and walking and walking.
The shot that I'm talking about comes at the very end of the movie during the end credits and is a long zoom where Judy is walking down a road far away in the distance. And because the camera is far away from her, but with a telephoto zoom, it makes it look like she's walking but not really going anywhere, which says a lot about her character and the themes of this movie. This comment that I made, however, is a straight film bro comment and does two very film bro-y things. One, it tries to make me sound smart because I've seen Lawrence of Arabia and The Graduate. And two, I give all the credit to the male director and ignore Judy's performance, which is super embarrassing to do right in front of someone's face. PR people update, they are super pissed in this moment. Eric LaRue in theaters. That's where people can come check it out.
Yeah, April 4th. Yep.
All right. Go see it. Judy Greer, Michael Shannon, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Greg.
All right. I guess I leave. Okay. There we go. Bye. I made Judy Greer laugh one last time. That's 3 for people keeping count. Okay, so this wasn't quite the disaster listening back as I made it feel in my head before editing. I just wanted to give you all a peek behind the curtain. When we started popping collars over 10 years ago, we never really took ourselves seriously. And it's moments like this that remind me why. I mean, just speaking of absurd, it's absurd that I'm talking to a multi-time Oscar nominee in Michael and one of the most prolific comedians on the planet in Judy from my laundry room. Wild. Anyway, my final thoughts on Eric LaRue. I think people should watch it. I especially think it should be shown in pastoral care classes at seminary. I had to watch Goodwill Hunting clips in my pastoral care class, and I have yet to have a moment that's like the "it's not your fault, son" between Robin Williams and Matt Damon in that movie. But I have had circumstances like in this movie where the need to control a situation is beyond your grasp, and your ego gets in the way of truly listening to what's being said. Also, fun fact, noted playwright Tracy Letts plays a megachurch pastor in this movie, and that is surreal enough in and of itself to check out the picture. Hopefully, Eric LaRue is playing in your local theater. It's probably on the one screen that's not showing the Minecraft movie this weekend. Support indie cinema. Otherwise, we just have to keep watching superheroes and video game people punch each other in front of green screens until we die. Okay, that's it. We did it. Keep those collars popped, folks. We will see you next time.